Good morning. This is Ali from Team Eglinton, and I'm here with Brian Smith, my old boss, to talk about reinsurance industry. Brian has more than 26 years of experience in insurance industry, and currently he's the head of administration and client services in one of the largest reinsurance companies in North America. Brian, thanks for coming in.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So Brian, why don't you provide a high-level overview about reinsurance industry to people who may not be familiar with it?
Well, the reinsurance industry or reinsurance administration area?
Start with reinsurance industry and then we'll go to reinsurance administration.
Okay. The reinsurance industry, essentially, we insure insurers. So our clients are other insurance companies. And basically, where the area that we play in is life, disability, critical illness, and as well as annuity. Regarding the reinsurance operations, although they change a little bit from place to place, the reinsurance administration area is responsible for the administration of assumed and ceded business, retention management. We're also responsible for electronic data. That's the receipt and loading of client files, as well as performing external audit work. And we work very closely with the in-force management area, which is a main area of focus in the industry over the past few years.
Okay, so you mentioned that you insure insurance and one of your roles is administrating that business. So are you heavily reliant on client data?
We are. The reinsurance area is the first touch with the clients. So we receive the information from the clients. We're responsible for receiving, interpreting, translating, and feeding that through to all the other downstream services in our company. And because of that, we do need quality, complete data.
Okay, so you kind of, so that's a good sentence because you kind of touched upon our question. So both in your role and industry in general, what are some of the broad challenges with data?
I think probably the biggest challenge, and this has been a challenge ever since I've been in the industry, is that we've never been able to develop a common industry standard for data. There is no single data platform. So what that means for us is that we have to manage numerous proprietary data, all different fields, information provided, and that causes a lot of extra work to do that. So that's probably the biggest issue that we're dealing with.
So making sure that all the data that you get from different clients are cleaned up and they fit your internal data structure.
Exactly, that we receive all the required data elements and ideally all in the same format, which will significantly reduce our mapping translation exercises and a more efficient way for us to receive the data, and also makes it easier to analyze and pass that information along to the other functional areas in our business.
And when you receive this data from clients, like what's the delay? Like do you get it a month after, a quarter after?
Well, being a reinsurer, there is a lag built into our business. So essentially, how it will process is the direct writer will see the business to the reinsurer and then along to us. So at best case, let's suppose our client reports monthly. In general, we'll get the information between 1 and 2 months after that period.
Okay.
Quarterly, again, there's usually a quarter lag. And that is one of the, I wouldn't say issues, but concerns we have is we do deal with lags being a reinsurer retrocessionaire.
Okay. So I guess to sum it up, you have to clean up all this data, you have to make sure it fits the internal structure, and at the same time with different clients you are receiving at different timelines.
Exactly.
Okay, so that can be quite challenging. So let's say in a perfect world, if you had different type of access to data, and let's for now put aside the different client requirements and different timing, what type of access to data and what type of timing would it improve your life?
Well, if we were able to achieve standard data reporting, where that would help us was it would allow us to redistribute where a lot of the time is spent. So instead of spending time at the front end making sure the data is complete, we'll be able to more or less eliminate most of that work, and it'll go to the back end, which would be more the analyzing of the business, all the trending, doing the BI analytics work. That is really where a lot of our time is spent these days. So, simply put, time savings would be huge for our area.
Okay, so let's say if, and there is obviously privacy and regulatory concerns, but let's say there was a solution that you and all your clients had access to the live data, same format, everything within one database. Would that improve your life?
Yes, and I'm glad you said assuming all the privacy and
security issues, yes.
Because that is another of our concerns in the data is, currently in administration is regarding privacy and security of data. But assuming that is all taken care of, then the real benefit to us is we would be more or less able to do our analysis in real time. So we'd be able to see what's being reported, and we'd be able to react to that information and be able to provide senior management with our summaries of the business in a shorter time period, which would allow for more efficient decision making by senior management.
If you have to wrap this up, if you have to give a rough estimate from your role specifically and maybe your company in general, how much time is spent in cleaning and preparing data, and how much time is actually spent on analyzing the data for analytics?
Oh, it's a good question, and also a tough one to answer, because the problem, as I mentioned, with all the different proprietary data formats is it varies between client. So I would say, it's not uncommon to spend 2 to 3 days upon receipt of a file doing the remapping, translating, and all the testing associated with it before we put into production. And then at the back end, depending again on the client and the type of data, the business that's being reviewed, it can also take a couple of days too, depending on, of course, what analytical tools and software that the area has available, which is also another area of focus for our business now, is really on the analytics side of things. So the more time we can save at the front end and spend on the analysis, the better it is for us and for the company in general.
Okay, awesome. Brian, this was very helpful. I'm sure our students learned a lot about reinsurance industry and some of the challenges there. So on behalf of Tim Eglinton and Queen's School of Business, I would like to thank you for your time.
Thank you so much.